Yo guys, hey, what's up? It's your boy here again. Talk more wrestling, but not WWE related. Um, this video I'm going to talk about Impact Wrestling. A little bit more in particular, Michael Elgin. Michael Elgin being signed to Impact Wrestling. I had a chance to catch up on Impact Wrestling's pay per view Rebellion. That was not last weekend. I think the weekend before, 2 weeks ago. Um, good show. There were some things I dug, some stuff not so much, but overall it was a good show. Tessa Blanchard versus Gail Kim was, to me, match of the night. The tag team match between LAX and Lucha Bros for the tag team titles, excellent main event. Um, Speaking of Lucha Bros, I think shortly after that, uh, on social media, it was announced that Lucha Bros have signed an exclusive deal with AEW. Now they've before it was just a handshake agreement to work with the Young Bucks, but now that they were going to work exclusively with AEW, but only in America. So I don't know how that's going to work with them working in Impact. If they're done with Impact Wrestling, or even MLW, because the CEO of MLW said that Lucha Bros are signed, or we're signed with them for like until 2020 next year. So, don't know how that's going to work. Anyway, um, maybe, maybe, maybe MLW doesn't matter that much because MLW is YouTube. They broadcast through. Well, no, they broadcast on television too, though. Anyway, but yeah, despite those things, it was a good show. Michael Elgin has signed with Impact Wrestling. I watched this past episode of Impact. I caught up on that, where Michael Elgin came out and spoke, said that he wants the challenge for the heavyweight title that was newly won from Brian Cage. Um, Michael Elgin, I think, is a good fit for Impact. I will say, over the last year, Impact Wrestling has been a good show to watch. Even though these guys seem to have, they can't really find a TV network or station to stay on, or they get on a network that not a lot of people have. I've been lucky enough to have direct TV, so from the Pop TVs to Destination America to now the Boondock Network, Pursuit. I call it the Boondock because literally no one carries that. I didn't even know my cable subscriber carried that. But fortunate enough that they do, or I'm able to watch Impact on television. Um, so they're hard to catch for a lot of people, and because of that, their ratings do drop. But I'm just talking about for content, wrestling content, what they bring to the table. To me, a wrestling fan, Impact Wrestling has been good. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I'm not gonna lie about it. They've been slowly building their roster over the past year, and it's a pretty nice roster. They've got um, John Morrison. They got the Lucha Bros. You got LAX. It's not the original LAX, but even the newer version of LAX. I don't know their names individually, or should I say I haven't cared to know their names individually. But the new LAX, they've been good. They've been consistently one of the best tag teams Impact has had, and they put on good matches. Um, you got the Rascals, who are an interesting trio of cruiserweight guys. Um, Brian Cage. What's someone else that I like on Impact? Ace Austin. Um, Not familiar, never been familiar with his work before. I think I may have seen him in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, but I'm not too sure. But anyway, he signed on to Impact Wrestling. He's got like a Gambit from X-Men type of like gimmick, which is pretty cool. He's exciting to watch. You got Rich Swann, who's the X Division champion. Sammy Callahan, who's just been, to me, great. The best heel in that company. He's the best heel. Like I said, Lucha Bros, Phoenix, and Pentagon. Despite the whole AEW thing over the past last weekend, signing exclusively, I don't know how that's going to work moving forward. But to name sakes for name, to name them, they're on Impact. And now you got Michael Killer Cross. I've grown to like Killer Cross. I was never familiar with him until Impact. And they just re-signed Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam had an interview with Hannibal TV, and they asked him like, "Hey, you're back on Impact. You know why are you back with Impact?" And he was like, "Oh, the money." At least he was honest. You know, you can't blame RVD for that. At least RVD was honest. But RVD was honest. He said, "Hey, look, I'm here for the money. I want more money." They made me a good offer to wrestle. I think he said like maybe 10 matches or something out of the year. They pick his spots, which is fine. You know, RVD is at that point, he's kind of looking like a former show himself. But if the man can put on, you know, good matches and they're spread it throughout the year, you know, 10 matches, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's fine. That was the one problem where, you know, the TNA had was that, you know, they'll take the veterans or the former WWE, WCW, ECW guys, and they just put them in the forefront. Where I've always said, you do need some recognizable stars, some recognizable faces. It's just that you have to build your young roster around those veterans so that, you know, they can be the main focal point. You know, so when that veteran finally retires and goes away for whatever reason, you have a solid foundation of young guys that you can focus the company around. So if Rob Van Dam is working 10 matches, 10 or 12 matches out of the remainder of the calendar year, I'm fine with that. Go ahead. It's nice seeing Rob Van Dam anyway. So to see Rob Van Dam, and like I said, you know, Michael Elgin, who the whole premise of this video is making it for, they have a nice roster. They've built a nice little roster for themselves with some good talent. As for Michael Elgin, this past last Friday on Impact, the main event was between Michael Elgin, John Morrison, and Pentagon Jr. Excellent triple threat main event. I'm not gonna lie, I won't front. I know a lot of people don't have the Pursuit channel. I know they multi simulcast Impact when it airs on television. They also simulcast it through Twitch, which a lot of people have been watching it there. That's an easy watch, but in whatever way you can, I recommend go back and watch that triple threat. I thought it was a good main event. Michael Elgin won the number one contenders match, and Michael Elgin is a contender for the world title. He'll be facing Brian Cage, who unfortunately the night that he won the world title from John Morrison suffered a back injury. I don't think they're going to strip him from the title, but he will be for at least for a couple of weeks. He won't be wrestling, but I think it was cool that they had Michael Elgin. I didn't see that coming. Seeing Michael Elgin on Impact last week, I will say he kind of brought a different. He brings something to the Impact roster. He brings a little bit of badassery, I feel personally, and intensity that I think the Impact roster kind of needs, and that they were kind of lacking. I know, you know, for the last year, they had been building Brian Cage as like, you know, this unstoppable juggernaut, this machine, this beast. And Brian Cage is all those things, but Brian Cage, I don't get like a sense of like intensity from him. Like the Brian Cage from like say Lucha Underground when he premiered on Lucha Underground, and the Brian Cage from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, that type of intensity, I never felt he had that coming into Impact. I don't know. That's just me. That intensity that he brought in Lucha Underground, that he brought in and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, I didn't see much of that in Impact. I didn't get that. They kind of tried to build him like a Goldberg esque type of guy where he was undefeated for an entire year. I mean, and I like Brian Cage, I do. I'm glad he's world champion. But to me, he doesn't have that type of intensity, that ruthless aggression, as Vince McMahon would always say. I feel they have that in Michael Elgin. Michael Elgin is still a young guy. Michael Elgin, last I checked before doing this video, I think he's like 31, 32. So he's still in his prime age. He can go for, a stocky guy. He can go. He brings some intensity to that Impact roster that I think they need, and he's something different. And I think he's going to do well in Impact. He looks like he fits well in Impact. Um, you know, right now I think WWE is overloaded with a bunch of stuff, talent roster. So they're not gonna. I don't think he'd be too much of a big fit right there right now. AEW have been signing people left and right, but I don't know if Elgin would fit there just yet. New Japan, I mean, he's had some success in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, he's a former IWGP Intercontinental Champion, and was it last year? He was the never open weight champion, even though he lost it his first title defense. But last year, Michael Elgin was just kind of like here in New Japan. Obviously, he's kind of burned his bridges with Ring of Honor. So right now, if you're looking for in terms of where could Michael Elgin go, Impact Wrestling is the place to go. Dave Meltzer, I believe he said that Elgin left New Japan to come to Impact to be a top guy. And obviously, when he debuted on the pay-per-view, staring down the new world champion in Brian Cage. He just won a contenders match. So he's number one contender now for the world title. So they're definitely putting the rocket up his ass and putting him in the main event already. His first night in, he's a contender. Won a contendership for the world title. Some people might complain about that. I'm actually kind of okay with it. Because I've grown stale of the Brian Cage, John Morrison, Killer Cross feud that have been going on for months now, which has dominated, a quarter of 2019. So if they can move away from the Brian Cage and John Morrison feud, which I was glad, bring on Elgin, bring on Michael Elgin. So yeah, I like Impact. I think 2019 has been a good year. Like 2018, 2018 was a good year for Impact. 2019 I think is a good start as well. They've got Michael Elgin. I think he fits the roster well. I think he'll do well there. So yeah, we'll see. You guys let me know what you think about Impact Wrestling, if you guys still watch it, because I know Impact has a long history of losing fans, and when it was formerly known as TNA and everything else. I dropped off the map, for like 1 year or 2 years, and then came back to the product. And I heard that Don Canellis and Scott D'Amore took over, and they've done a good job. I will say, since Impact has been under the regime of Scott D'Amore and Don Callis, the Impact Wrestling has been a much enjoyable show, and in some cases, I won't lie, it's been a little bit more enjoyable than Raw. It is. It's been a little bit more enjoyable than Raw, and I look forward to see what they do next, especially with Michael Elgin. It's definitely going to get me tuned in to watch even more consistently. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think in the box below about Impact Wrestling, Michael Elgin signing. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.